After watching Squid Game multiple times, I noticed a key detail that 99% of Squid Game fans completely missed. At the end of season 1, Ilnam told Gi Hun that he let him live because he made the games fun for him. El Riz could be referring to letting He-goons beat him at the marbles game, but what if there's actually a much darker truth here? What if this was actually a haunting confession? I believe that Ilnam confessed to Gi Hun that no one is meant to escape the Squid Games, including even the winners of the games, making Gi Hun, Inho, and Baby Quinn the only exceptions to a savagely merciless rule. My goal by the end of this video is to convince you that all players who take part in the games, even the champions, actually have zero chance of making it out alive. And I've uncovered an unsettling amount of evidence for this multi-billion-dollar lie. So what do we know for sure? El Riz told G-Man that he let him live because he allowed him to experience that sensation of having fun as a kid again. Gi Hun was the only person who showed compassion towards the old man, even when he was rude and distasteful at first. Ilnam even sat in a corner by himself when the players were choosing partners for the marbles game, proving that Ilnam never expected the level of empathy shown to him by Gi Hun. From becoming partners in the marbles game, to covering up his pants after he wet himself, to laughing along the way, they created a bond over the course of the games. This bond was what led Ilnam to spare his life after winning the games. Both Inho and Gi Hun displayed a high regard for other players and a deep sense of morality, even showing a lack of desire for the money, knowing it comes at the cost of human lives. This lack of fulfillment, along with a strong sense of compassion for others, was why El Riz took an interest in Inho, just like he did with G-Money. Maybe Inho, as a former detective, also possessed a unique blend of intelligence, discipline, strategic thinking, and a cynical understanding of human nature that Ilnam found relatable. It's no coincidence that the only winners who were ever mentioned have had a close connection with the showrunner. Inho personally wanted Baby Quinn to make it out alive, which is why he offered Gi Hun the option of eliminating every other finalist in their sleep. He also gave the baby and the winnings to his own brother, proving that the baby is fundamentally important to the frontman. Think about it, the games have been going on since 1988, meaning there have been more than 35 different winners at least if the games are held annually. And if you pay close attention to the records found by Junho, there are 6 binders for each year on one shelf and 14 binders for each year on another, suggesting that there could actually be 6 to 14 rounds of games held each year. This means there could potentially be around 500 winners since the games were established, with a total payout of over $16 billion since 1988. This then begs the question, what if the organization specifically allowed Gi Hun, Inho, and Baby Quinn to live, and every other winner of the Squid Games was actually taken out before even leaving the island? Here's all the additional evidence I've gathered for why this is most likely the case, and this is where things get even darker. Number 1, it makes perfect sense. Why would the game allow witnesses? They dedicate an incredible amount of time and resources into preserving the secrecy of the games, so why would they let the most provenly capable individuals with full knowledge of the games live? This would be asking for the games to be revealed. Even if the police and the government are working to hide the games, more than 35 winners giving the same story would be newsworthy and get a lot of attention. The winners are the ones most likely to expose the games, not just because they've seen the worst of humanity and lived, but they're also equipped with 45.6 billion won each. You're telling me more than 35 champions with billions of won have never managed to uncover the games? These aren't just any witnesses. These are individuals who have endured unimaginable psychological trauma, witnessed the depths of human depravity, and lived to tell. They're the most mentally resilient and resourceful people from the entire pool of 456. To then arm them with billions of won, practically unlimited resources, and then send them back into the world, expecting them to stay silent or simply disappear, defies the very meticulous nature of the games. This is an unacceptable risk for such a powerful and ruthless organization. The simplest and most direct solution, from their apathetic perspective, is absolute elimination. Number 2, it would be easy. After Ilnam passed away, Inho took his place as a higher up. He didn't agree that Gi Hun should have been spared simply for getting on the founder's good side. I believe Inho planted explosives on the plane at the end of season 1 to take out Gi Hun. This explains why he was so persistent in telling Gilbert to get on the plane, both in season 1 and season 2. Knowing the lengths the organization goes to for discretion, a staged accident or disappearance for a high-value target like Gi Hun, conveniently after Ilnam's death removed his protection, makes perfect sense. This is an organization funded by the most filthy rich individuals. Taking Gi Hun out should have been a cinch. Ironically, Gi Hun Everdeen wanting to put an end to the Hunger Games and even returning as a player is what made Inho decide to let him live. Inho also had a heightened sense of justice and morality, most likely wanting to stop the games himself while taking part in them. Inho, having walked Gi Hun's path of disillusionment and forced submission, saw a reflection of his own past struggles. In Your Hole saw massive potential in Gi Hun as a showrunner. This adds more depth to the relationship between Gi Honey and Front Daddy. The only reason G-Man was allowed to live is because the frontman believed he'd make a great showrunner, working to continue the games and preserve their secrecy. Inho was unable to take out Gi Hun while Ilnam was still alive. It's more than just a coincidence that exactly after El Riz passes away, the frontman suspiciously tries to convince Gi Goons to get on a plane, a fate that would have meant the end of his life. Number 3. There are clues. The lack of any other past winners living normal lives, despite the games running for decades, supports the idea that the fate of even the winners is not freedom, but a silent elimination. Keep in mind the frontman ominously gave an order to keep an eye on the players who didn't come back after the first game in Season 1. Players who voted to stop the games and never came back are precisely the individuals who are most likely to try to expose the games to the world. They're traumatized, desperate, and most importantly, unpaid witnesses. Unlike the winners who supposedly receive a fortune, these individuals have nothing to lose by exposing the games, and everything to gain from justice and revenge. Why would the frontman give such a strange order? I believe the organization planned to and succeeded in taking out the players who decided not to come back. This would preserve the confidentiality of the games, an aspect we know is extremely important to everyone involved. Ilnam literally describes the poor as disgusting human filth, proving how he truly views the players in the games. Given this morbid view of the participants, we know he's not above silencing a winner, and it's something he would want to do as well. Inho was only allowed to live after agreeing to take part in running the games, proving that the standard protocol is to pursue and eliminate even the winners. The status quo is an early grave. So why would they do this? The games are already designed to leave only one player left standing, and eliminating even the last man left alive would provide the highest level of secrecy for the games. Plus, the VIPs would save themselves the expense of having to pay out 45.6 billion won every year. One of the VIPs became visibly angry when he lost $1 million for betting on the wrong player. If $1 million was enough to piss off one of the elite, imagine them having to pay the equivalent of $33 million every year or even multiple times per year. Some fans believe the true purpose of the games is to find more people to become like the salesman or the frontman, ruthless people who abandon their faith in humanity and are willing to perpetuate the cruel system of the games. The reason why the games were originally started was to find a remedy for the existential boredom that comes with immeasurable wealth. At the core of why the games even exist is to allow the elite to experience fun and entertainment again. Ilnam looked enamored with that feeling of bliss he was able to experience from the games. A lot of this was due to Gi Hun, who not only showed him an immense amount of compassion, but also chose him to be his partner for the marbles game. If Gilbert hadn't done this, the old man would have been left out of the fourth game, just like the annoying lady. This selfish desire for fun shows the little regard the organizers have for human life, furthering the notion that they're not above tricking even the winners of the games. So what does this mean? The games are a one-way trip. The only real choice the players have is to either become a victim or a perpetrator within the twisted system. This also implies that Inho may not have chosen to stay and become the showrunner by his own will. I believe at some point Inho discovered something on the island that confirmed that all players, including the winners, are to be eliminated. This makes sense when we consider Inho's background as not only law enforcement but as a detective. Inho may have become the frontman because he had to, and then grew into the role afterwards. But this theory gets even more horrifying. It's completely possible that Inho was forced into the role of the frontman under threat of the organization taking out his wife, who was also carrying their baby. This explains why Inho won the games in 2015 but his wife passed away in 2018. This timeline is devastatingly crucial. The fact that he wasn't able to go back to his wife and provide the money for the liver transplant she desperately needed strongly suggests he was prevented from accessing his winnings and returning to his family, and that his induction into the organization was the result of threats to his family. His choice to become the frontman could have been a desperate bargain to spare his loved ones, a bargain the organization then cruelly broke by letting his wife die anyway, maybe as a final test of his loyalty. All winners of the games being promptly taken out lines up perfectly with everything we know about the games and the organization running them. The games are designed to eliminate all traces that they even exist. This theory not only lines up with the best interest of the organization, but it also makes sense given the little we know about past winners and the clues hidden throughout this incredible show. I want to know what you think. Do you think even the winners of the games are taken out? Hit me with your wildest theory in the comments and check out these delicious videos.